Register now. Call 803-0930. Toll free at 1-800-616-9236. And cell calls are free at star 930. And now, live from the WBEN studios, it's Esther Gulyas.
Hey, everybody, this is the Tax Lady, and this is our hour to talk taxes. And we sure would like to hear what you have to say. Everybody loves when you guys call, when I'm talking to my clients, they go, I can't believe the stuff that people ask. And so we'd love you to call us, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. And, of course, I'm from EG Tax, and I got Christopher Fabian, our vice president and head of all kinds of stuff at the office. And we got him out of the office, so you must be thrilled.
Yes. And by the way, hello. Esther.
Hello, Christopher. We've been really busy. And a couple things you want to add, Chris?
Well, yep. Don't forget, March 15th is corporation deadline.
That's
so
right.
S Corp, C Corps, you got to get them in by March 15th.
Or file an extension.
File an extension, but pay New York State their lovely annual filing fee.
Because you get to work here and live here, and so that's great. Couple things that we've noticed is that, especially in New York State, if you're claiming a handicapped child who's an adult, like for instance, you might have a 30 or 35-year-old handicapped child, and they're still on your return, New York State is disallowing those and asking for proof. So if you're somebody that had that happen to you and you get that letter from New York State, don't be intimidated. Make sure you respond. And if you have a need, if you have help, I don't know what I'm trying to say. If you,
if you need help, we're here.
Responding, you can come to EG Tax, and we'll be very happy to help you with that. What we're going to talk about today is we're going to save you some money, and this is an area that a lot of people overlook. We're going to talk about employee business expenses and things that you can deduct when you're doing your tax return. I bet you some of you have employee business expenses, and you said, oh, I don't think I can claim them. But you'd be surprised how all this stuff adds up, and it might make you be able to itemize.
Right. I mean, one of the most popular ones are union dues, and people always go, well, it's on my W-2. And
it's not, except for GM and Ford.
Yeah, very few, they're right on the W, so they don't worry about it. Oh, don't worry about it. But you could be giving up a $700, $800, $1,000 in expense. If you're in a construction worker in a union, that's $3,000.
That's right. That's exactly right. So anyway, that's what we're going to talk about today. 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. And out of town, whether you're in Toronto or in Florida or in Arizona, our phone number is 800-616-9236, 1-800-616-9236. And would love to hear what you have to say. Okay, so what is an employee business expense, Chris?
Anything you spend money on to help you make money that the company doesn't, well, they can reimburse you, but
or they might not reimburse you fully.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So one of the easiest things is when you're using your car in your job. And a lot of people don't even think that they're using their car in their job. But like, for instance, you might be going from, you leave at 5 o'clock and you got the deposit and you go to the bank every day. That means you're going from work to another work location, and that's deductible. All that stuff adds up. If it's 10 miles to the bank, and you do it 260 days in a year, that's 2,600 miles, and that's like a $1,700 deduction. You wouldn't want to miss something like that.
Yep. Oh, I had a gentleman today, maintenance guy, he works between three different plant locations, and I said, you drive back and forth? Oh my God, I do that every day. I said, how many miles? 40 miles, 5 days a week.
Wow.
Times that by 50 weeks. That saved him a lot of money.
So that's one, maybe the office sends you out to pick up supplies over at one of the office supply places. And you go from your office to the other place of location. Or maybe you're an outside salesperson and you go from place to place to place to place. Or maybe you have an office in your home. And that means that you're on the day that you're using your home office, getting from your home office to your job is deductible. All of these things add up. And you can either take a standard mileage rate, which is 56 cents a mile, right?
Yep.
Or actual expenses.
Yes. Yep. And, and that's gas, washes, repairs, tires, AAA, all that stuff to keep your car going, your interest on your car, even depreciation on that car. But the depreciation is limited. I've seen a couple people, one of the preparers called and said, why is it doing this? I said, well, because, why buy a Mercedes when you can buy a Chevy?
Right.
That's the government's philosophy.
Right.
So they're going to limit on how much of a car.
In other words, they're not going to pay you to drive around in luxury.
Yep.
You have to just get there.
Yep.
And they're going to let you take the just getting there. You can't have fun. You're just getting there. So now the other thing is for employee business expenses, let's say that you're somebody that needs to go to a seminar out of town. Maybe you're looking for a job out of town. Unfortunately, this week is very sad. I had like 4 new clients that came in. 2 were from Florida. 1 was from South Carolina. 1 from California. And everyone, you want to know what their overall opinion of our weather was?
I can't say it on the air.
They're
Tyler will
moving
get
back.
in trouble.
They said, we just can't take it. We're moving back. So now those people, because they had moved here, they get to take, if they're looking for a job back in the warmer climates, and by the way, it isn't like this every winter. It just was the winter from hell,
But, the thing they got to look at, too, is, though, North Carolina's cold. They got snow this year. Georgia was cold.
Yeah, but Florida wasn't, and neither
well,
was
they were
California.
down to there were news reports down in Florida telling people to put on coats.
Oh,
So-
but that's 60 degrees. I saw somebody that said they had to bring their dog in because they didn't want him to get wind chill, and it was 50 degrees. You people in Florida, I'm telling you, you got it made. You got it made. Left the Northeast, and are you lucky? But anyway, we're going to talk more about things that are deductible as an employee, and those are the same things that are deductible if you're self-employed. So all of these things can really save you money. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on your cell phone. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with your calls on the other side. Okay. All right, anyone know this? That's Motown music, that's for sure.
It's Motown music that came out of Olean, New York.
Olean, New York. Motown. Olean. Who's this guy?
This is Wilmer and the Dukes.
Wilmer and the Dukes. Wow, I missed that one. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax. That Tyler Samer comes up with more stuff, I'll tell you. Anyway, we're talking about expenses you can deduct when you're an employee or self-employed that you may not even think about, but we've had people waiting a long time. We're going to get to them first, but if you hear something that you want to chime in on, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone, and we got John. Hey, Mr. John, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, and yourself?
Good.
I have a question regarding my mother's 401k.
Okay.
She worked at Sears for a number of years, well, local retail, I should say, and she retired in December. She's 82. She didn't do anything with the funds, and come 90 days later, they mailed her a check.
Okay.
She doesn't want to keep the check. She
Right.
wants to roll it over into an IRA to avoid the taxes.
Okay.
And I understand she has 60 days from when she receives the check.
Right.
But she also has, they also deducted taxes out of it.
Okay.
And I was wondering what the best course of action was.
Okay.
I understand you can make up the tax difference,
That's
but
right.
can she use that as the distribution portion?
Okay, so here's the thing.
RMD.
You were very good. It is absolutely correct that if you have a pension and your pension is that the pensioner wants to send you the money and you get it, you have 60 days from the time you receive the money to roll it into a qualified IRA. If they took out the tax portion, then you can make up the tax portion so that the distribution is whole. So if mom had $100,000 that they sent to her, but they took $2,000 out in taxes so that there's only $98,000 that they send her, when she goes to the bank, she can give them the whole 100, and that'll make the entire rollover tax-free. But she's going to then get, when she files her tax return next year, credit for the taxes that they withheld off of the original distribution. So it'll make the distribution tax-free, but she'll get credit for those taxes when she files.
Okay, but but she would have to have some kind of minimum distribution because she is, over
Okay.
over the 70 and a half.
So there's two things that happen. That rollover is one transaction, and sometime this year, because Mom is over the age of 70 and a half, she has to use the actuarial tables and make a and makes a taxable distribution from the IRA she's rolling into.
But I believe your question, John, was if she doesn't make the taxes whole and say leave that part taxable, that would count as her minimum distribution.
Right. Could
Well,
that,
depending if
it was enough.
Yeah. It has to
yeah,
be. It has to be
probably
enough.
is enough, but I'm not sure at this point. She hasn't received the check. I know they mailed it, so we have to take a look at what that actually says and see what her RMD was supposed to be for the year.
So how much money did she get?
She had 28,000, and I'm not sure what the check is going to be. Like I say, she hasn't received it yet.
Okay,
I know it's in the mail.
Her factor is 17.9. So that would mean that are you doing the same?
$1,564.
Yeah, $1,564 would be her RMD. So if the withholding was over that, you can use that as her RMD.
Okay.
Okay?
That's the part I wasn't sure if that could be the RMD. So that would be awesome.
Yeah. But another way you could do it is make it whole and then take out the RMD. 601 half
Right,
dozen the other.
it's just going into her account. She's
Right.
going to have to pay fees going in, and if she's going to have to pull it out right away, why
That's
give up
true.
those fees?
That's true. Okay?
Very good. Thank you very
sir.
much.
Bye-bye. Mr. Golias, the tax lady. Whoops.
She hit the wrong button.
I hit the wrong button. I should hit this button. He's gone anyway. I was just taking myself off the air. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone, and we got Denise. Hey, Denise, how are you doing? Hello.
Hi. I have a question about an S Corp that my husband and I had started, and the purpose was we got into this business we bought TVs and we were getting rental money back every month. In the end, it turned out it was a Ponzi scheme, so the money that we invested, we're going to lose. So I was just wondering how that gets handled on the S Corp return and on our personal return.
Okay, so you bought TVs. Were you depreciating the TVs?
Yes.
Okay, so
did you
We
really,
weren't in it very
Denise,
long.
did you really have a business?
We started an S Corp just for this.
so
Yeah.
were you renting out the TVs to individuals?
No, it was just to a company. You bought the TV, and then they sent you a monthly rental check. And they said they were putting it out, around the country. We had only been in it for 1 year.
Okay,
And in
so
the end,
let's see if I got this right. Like, let's say you put $20,000 up to join this group,
ABC group.
right? And then you bought all these TVs and you gave it to them, and they were supposed to be sending you a monthly rental check, correct?
Right.
But
yes.
nothing. You never got paid.
We got some, and then it stopped.
Okay, so here's the thing. All of your expenses to go into the S Corp are going to be deductible anyway, because an S Corp, that's what happens. You do the return, it flows over to the K1, which flows over to your personal return. So you'll be made whole anyway. And if you just, what are you going to do with all the TVs?
We don't even have them. They never come to our possession. They have them.
Okay,
Oh,
did
my
you
God.
sue these people?
There is the FBI is investigating them, and they're doing the whole thing.
But the bottom line is she's
Yeah,
going to
you
be
can
made
sell.
whole.
Yeah, you could sell the TVs for $0 on the tax return, and then that loss would be on the S Corp, and then the S Corp would flow over to your
and
personal.
then close it. Make sure you close the corporation right away.
Okay.
Okay.
So what happens if they recover some money then, and it would be going to the S Corp if I closed it
Then
out?
it becomes income. Because if you're made whole at some point in time, but let's face it, probably you won't. But if any point in time you become you become whole, then whatever income you get out of this mess would be taxable.
Right. But what if I close the S Corp and they send? I think we'll get something, but we're not going to get nearly what we lost.
Okay. Well,
If
let me
close
tell you
S Corp-
let me tell you the joys of keeping your S Corp open that's not producing any income. The state of New York is going to charge you an annual fee for keeping it open. I'm going to tell you, you're better off closing it.
Yeah, but what do you do with the check when it comes made?
I
out
would
to the
just
corporation?
claim it right on your personal return line 21.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Denise.
Okay.
I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. Love to hear what you have to say. Well, the calls are coming in. We want to talk about more things that people just don't think about. Now, it is true that on an employee business expense, if you are an employee, it has to go on a 2106.
And it's
which
got to
then
be
gets carried over to the Schedule A,
right.
limited by 2%.
It's got to be ordinary and necessary.
Right.
And it cannot, the company has to say, no, we're not reimbursing you any money. Or if we're reimbursing you partial, then you get to do the rest.
Right. So, in other words, if you say, well, I know I could get reimbursed, but I just am not good at paperwork, so I'm not gonna turn it in. Well, if you could get reimbursed and you don't get reimbursed, then it's not deductible.
Right.
However, if you could get reimbursed and you are reimbursed, but like, for instance, we were talking about the mileage rate being 50 cents a mile and you're reimbursed at 30 cents a mile, then the difference between 30 cents and 56 cents a mile is going to be a deduction. Unless you are on a non-accountable plan.
Right. Right.
And a non-accountable plan is when they just say, you know what, Chris, we're giving you $200 a month to cover your expenses. That money would be in your W-2, and it would be 100% deductible on the 2106.
Yep. Well, I don't know about anybody else, but my mind, I know this, and my mind's going crazy right now. But I commit someone trying to do this by themselves or trying, just to gather it.
That's why they don't do it. Yeah. And then when they don't do it, guess who keeps the
The
money?
IRS, yeah, because they're not going to say, gee, Mrs. Gulius, you made a mistake. Here's some extra money.
They don't even, that's true. They don't even know that you made a mistake.
Yep.
Okay, so here's some of the things that you might have spent money on and you haven't claimed. Airfare. Maybe you're out like that couple, like these kids that came in to see me this week. They're all going back to where they came. Airfare for a job search, right? Back to where hotels, meals, taxi, baggage charges.
Rent a car. Gas for the rent a car.
Your job search. Educational. Maybe you're a nurse and you got an opportunity to go to some special training and you had to go to Chicago or something. That trip would be deductible as long as it's ordinary and necessary.
A headhunter.
Now remember, never have a good time when you're in Chicago.
No, a headhunter. If you hire someone to find you a job, that's an expense.
Right. You mean that guy that comes around
and shrinks your head?
Yeah. I can't do that because you can't make any kind of jokes about anybody's nationality anymore. Okay, meals and entertainment, right?
Yep.
Maybe as part of your job, you meet somebody for coffee, get them a donut. That's deductible. Buy them lunch, dinner, right?
Just keep track of who, what, when, where, and how. I tell my people,
and make sure you talk about business
and save the receipts.
Now, actually, you don't have to save a receipt if it's under $75, because if it's the substantiation of expense receipts is not necessary if it's for travel and entertainment under $75, as long as it's in a log. So you'd have to keep Red Lobster.
Yep.
Can you eat at Red Lobster for $75?
Well, it depends who you are.
Hi, you can say, hi, we'd like to take you out to the Red Lobster. They say, great. And then you go there and you say, you can have a shrimp. Anyway, I'm going to take this call before I get into any more hot water here. Hey, Joy, how can I help you? Hello, Joy.
Hello.
How are you? Are you Joy from St. Louis? Where?
I was in the radio, listening to the radio in the car, and I thought I heard you say something about a deadline for filing something in New York was March 15th. Did I hear wrong?
No, that's corporations are due March the 15th.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye-bye, sweetie. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's from St. Louis. Well, what the heck? And then we got Ed. Hello, Ed. How are you doing?
Yes, good, thank you. I had a non-qualified withdrawal from a New York 529 plan. We thought we were going to have some expenses, and they didn't have it. It was about $500-600, and I was wondering, how do I report that? I thought it would just be other income.
Well, you got it first on the federal. The growth is taxable. So on your 1098Q. 1099Q, it'll be broken up from total distribution, growth, and principal. The growth is taxable on the federal. On New York State, all of it is taxable.
Right. So you understand why, Ed, because the only place that a 529 is deductible is on the state return. But the federal government says we're going to shelter all the income that the 529 makes. Now, as long as you're using the money for education, then it's cool. But like in your case, you took it out and you didn't use it for education, so the federal only wants to know the increase over what you put into it and what you got out.
What do you mean the increase I put into it?
If you, out of that $500, say $350 is your money, $150 is growth, so then the $150 would become taxable to the federal government.
Which
So
it
you
may
gotta
not
report
even.
it on both. Then I thought it would just be New York that I'd have to report
No,
it in.
the growth. But let's face it, Ed. For most of these plans, there's not too much growth.
On $500, there's not going to be much
Yeah,
taxable.
believe me, if it's $10, $20, it's going to cost you $1. But I mean, it has to go on the the growth goes on the federal.
Which means the interest that we earned on it.
Yeah,
right?
the interest or your dividends or whatever it was. Yeah, whatever they had it invested in.
Yeah, but as for the money itself that wasn't used for expenses, I have to claim all that on the New York then.
All on New York, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay,
What, under other income?
There's a addition line on New York State.
on page 2
On page 2.
of the 201.
Okay, because I thought I was reading they were asking me how much I had put into it and how much I had taken out of the program since I initially started it.
Well, because let's say that you put in money and you never took it as a deduction, then it's not going to be taxable to you. But if you took the deduction, then you got to add it.
Okay, if I took the deduction.
Right.
Okay.
All right, Ed.
Okay.
Thanks for calling. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady. We're going to break for news. We'll see you on the other side. 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone, 1-800-616-9236, out of town. See you on the other side. I know it's very superstitious. And that's I don't know who
That's
did it. Writing on the wall.
why can't I think of his name? The blind guy, isn't it? The
He's from Detroit. He's got a piano.
yes,
it's
Ray.
not Ray.
He's the Pepsi guy.
Yes,
Ray
yes,
Charles.
Yes. No,
No,
Ray
not Ray Charles.
Cripe. That goes back. Oh, all right. Tell us.
Stevie Wonder.
That's it. I couldn't.
I'm better at taxes.
You guys had it.
We had it.
I'm better at taxes. Well, anyway, I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady. From EG Tax, our offices are open 9 to 9. We want to help you, and we love you too. So when we were talking about employee business expenses, I also want to tell you, if you have rental property, all that mileage that you put on your car to go pick up the rents, to go to Lowe's, to go to Home Depot, to go to the hardware store, to come over and break up fights or whatever you're doing, to when it's all that mileage
Shovel,
is
cut the
deductible too
lawn.
at 56 cents a mile. And a lot of times my clients will say, "Oh no, I don't want to." But if you went there 20 times, 30 times during the year, that might be 1,000 miles, $560 deduction. You're thrown out the window. You would not let me come up to you and steal $80 from you. Well, you just leave it on the table, right? Okay, let's go to Richard, who has been waiting so long. Hey, Richard, how you doing?
Fine, Esther. Great program.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. I'm a creditor on a bankruptcy case, and they settled it in court this past year.
Okay.
And, of course, the lawyers did well, but I didn't do so well. And I had a secured loan there. Well, it wasn't secure; it was just a regular loan. And I'm just wondering, what can I do with that loss? Can I apply that someplace?
Well, that would go on a Schedule D as a bad debt.
Mm-hmm.
Schedule D.
I mean, you took them to court and everything. It's in a bankruptcy, so you're good to go.
Oh, yeah, I have paperwork showing that that I got nothing out of this whole thing. So.
Yeah, it's very sad. How much did you lose, Rich?
Around $6,000.
And then was there any legal fees involved that you had to pay?
No, we didn't. At this point, I filed all the papers myself through the bankruptcy court, so I really didn't hire a lawyer.
All right. Well, for anybody else's information, had he incurred any expenses to get to take the person to court, that also would have been added to the amount that you lost.
I see. But maximum loss coming out of Schedule D, is that still like $3,000 then?
It is, but you're not going to lose it. That's the maximum amount you can take against other income, but it carries forward.
Okay.
So if you had other capital gains, like for instance this year, I don't know if you've seen it, Chris, but there's all kinds of capital gains coming out with the mutual funds. So I don't know if you've looked at your mutual fund statement if you're an investor, but you probably have capital gains and you'll be able to use the one against the other two.
How about the term non-dividend distribution? Because that came from my brokers. I got a place for capital gains, a place for dividends, and then
a non-dividend distribution would almost be you getting a return of your money. It's a return of capital. So that's not taxable.
It reduces your basis. That's all.
Okay. And my last one, how about my IRA fee?
Well, if you're paying a custodial fee, that's an itemized deduction, limited by 2%.
Okay, but I can't. I'm in the where I have to take money out every year.
RMD. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't take the 100 off
of that. No.
Yes. No. Okay. Well, that's great. You guys are wonderful.
Thanks, Rich. Have a great day.
You
bye
too.
Bye. And let's see. We're going to go to Jerry. Hey, Jerry. How you doing? How can we help you?
Good, Esther. Hope you're having a good day.
I am. It's over. If it's
right up on Obama's push to end the 529 plans. And one of the paragraphs I had a question on, it said in 2007, the Obamas themselves illustrated the president's point, front-loading 5 years' worth of contribution into their daughter's 529 plans with deposits of $240,000. Now, they couldn't take that off in any 1 year. I just wondered what it meant by preloading, front-loading.
Well, that's like if a grandparent wants to gift their grandchild money, they can put it right in 5 years' worth of contributions into one contribution.
Oh, and you can. How do you take that off your taxes, and what procedure?
Well, that would go right on that year you do it, but you're not allowed to take any deduction for a 529 plan for the next 4 years.
Right.
Oh, so you could theoretically take $240,000 off of
income
in 1 year.
In New York State, it's only a state subtraction. New York State limits it to $10,000 if you're married, $5,000 if you're single.
So what you're going to do is you front loaded it, you put it in there, but you're and it's only state deductible. Okay, number one. The growth is federally not taxable if you use it for qualified expenses, but you're limited to the $10,000 deduction that year. So that what you have to do. So if you front loaded at $250,000, depending upon the state, I don't know every state's 529 rules, but New York State limits it to $10,000.
Okay, and what do you get on the federal?
Nothing.
Oh, so 529 doesn't give you any help on the federal?
Not just that the growth part would be tax-free if you use it for qualified education.
I want to clear that up. If, let's say you just put the $10,000 into an account, you could subtract $10,000 on your state taxes.
No, this is how it works. Let's say you're a grandpa and you end up put $10,000 in your grandchild. So you put $10,000 in on Jerry's tax return for New York only. You subtract $10,000.
Okay.
That money's sitting there growing. Maybe now it's $12,000.
Okay.
Jerry lets his granddaughter take it out for education. The $12,000 gone. All right.
It doesn't help you anything.
It doesn't. It's never a subtraction on the federal, and it's never income on the state. It's just it's an adjustment against your granddaughter's expenses for her education. But let's say Jerry, after 2 years, his granddaughter says, "Grandpa, I don't want to go to college," and Jerry lets her take the $12,000 out. Then Jerry has to report that $12,000 as income on the state, and he has to take $2,000 and report it on the federal.
Oh, okay. And you're saying also, going back to your earlier comment, some states allow more than the $10,000. You're saying
possibly.
I don't know. I know what New York is.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jerry. Bye-bye. Let's see. Yeah, Chris.
I was just going to say, and make sure if you're putting money in and you're thinking you're going to make the deduction on your New York return, it has to be a New York 529. There might be other states that have better growth rates, so you're putting it in there. That's not a subtraction on your New York return.
Right. All right, we're going to go to Jim in Lackawanna. Hey, Jim. Hello, Jim.
Hi, Esther. Great show.
Thanks.
Yeah, I've got a problem I hope you can give me a little bit of advice on. I had some unfiled tax returns, and I had about 6 years' worth, which I finally took care of last year.
Yay, Jim!
I know. I was self-employed my whole life, and anyway, I ended up with a $30,000 bill for the IRS, which I could not pay.
Okay.
So I with a bunch of phone calls with a local agent and a lot of paperwork, they determined that it's uncollectible, and they basically close the case. I mean, they don't never close it, you know that. But they determined at this time it's uncollectible.
They do close it though.
Well,
Jim,
after
10
10
years, they'll let the taxes go.
But I do have a $30,000 lien. I still get stuff in the mail, and I get all kinds of people trying to offer to help me, from out of state and all this nonsense.
Let me. Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Do you have any assets?
I don't. Okay. That's why it was uncollectible.
Okay, but I'm just trying to help you here. Do you have any? Do you have any loose change laying around? You got any cash? You're not in a position that you can pay this at all, right?
Exactly. That's
all right.
Exactly.
Now, if you would like, you could do something that's called an offer and compromise, where it isn't that there's just that uncollectible and the IRS isn't calling you up anymore, but you can actually do an offer and compromise where you basically say, I can't afford to pay this debt. I
am familiar with that, and I have read up on that, and I looked into that, and the little bit that I'm reading on it, because my wife makes about $31,000, and in the last couple of years, I've been netting probably about $15,000. I think for a family of two, I was kind of reading that I might not be eligible.
No, if you have no assets, you're going to be eligible. Now, when you're looking at some money coming in, they may say, Jim, we would really like you to pay us $2,000 to settle the debt. Wouldn't you settle it for $2,000?
Oh, of course I would. Yes.
And if you want help with that, we have an offer and compromise specialist, and he was with the IRS, and he can give you all the lowdown on it, and we may be able to get the debt settled for you.
Yeah, because one thing, when you're uncollectible for those 10 years, they're going to hound you. If you have refunds, they're going to take your refunds to pay that. Then they're also going to investigate you every year to make sure you're still uncollectible. Right. So on that 8th year, if you start making $40,000 a year as self-employment, then they're going to say, guess what? You owe us that money.
Right.
No,
just because
I would definitely look at making a plan with that. I have one more complication. Long story short, my mother-in-law just passed away, and we're going to be inheriting a house.
See, that's the whole thing. Now, if you got assets to pay it, but it's your mother-in-law, so it belongs to your wife, correct?
Right.
All right, so that's your wife's asset.
But we filed our taxes together, so I don't
know. Was that is the business yours or hers? Did you file a joint return last year? On when you did those returns, did you file joint returns?
Yes, we did.
Oh, Mamma Mia. Okay.
Yeah,
that could be, and that's exactly what Chris is saying. See, it looks good right now that the IRS says you're uncollectible, but you never know what the future is going to hold. So what I'd suggest you do is you can call our office and we can talk to Ken Schultz.
Talk to Ken, call 439-2137. Or is 438-2137, sorry.
Yeah, 438-21.
438-2137.
All right, and then you can talk to him. I would get it cleared up if I were you.
Yes, I'm going to do that. I'll bring all my paperwork in. And yes, all right.
Thanks, Jim.
Is he local?
He's in our Lockport office right now, and then after tax season, he comes to our corporate office to do these.
Okay, Lockport's not bad. Okay.
Thanks,
Jim.
Thank
you very much.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
I'm Esther Goulias, the tax lady from EG Tax. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with your phone calls on the other side. 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone, and we'll love to hear from you. Call, see you on the other side. You know, this is a shame, isn't it?
I think he's trying to butter you up.
No. I know who this is. Conway Twitty. Would it be Elvis Presley?
Yeah, look at you, Esther.
Esther finally knew one.
Wait,
Okay.
are you trying to say we're in trouble with the IRS with Jailhouse Rock?
I wasn't implying that. But
No,
maybe.
and we want to keep you out of
Keep
jail.
people
too.
out of
Keep
jail. That's
Everybody
right.
out of jail. I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady from EG Tax with Chris Fabian. We want to help you with your taxes if you got any tax questions. And I will tell you, talking a couple of weeks ago, we had this lovely couple lady that called and said the state of New York was garnishing her. I don't know if you were there that week or not. Was garnishing her wages. Her brother's wages because they used to have a restaurant, and they closed the restaurant, but they never did the sales tax returns. Okay, so the state was so wonderful, and they did them for them. And the couple came in the other day, and Maria prepared their sales tax returns. The state had come up with about $100,000 in sales taxes. They had already garnished $13,000 when we did the sales tax returns for them. The $13,000 paid everything, so they're going to be out from under.
Wow.
I mean, see, that's the whole thing is just because they're not bothering you doesn't mean that your life isn't going to be ruined eventually down the line. And if you know anybody that might be leaving you money, or you might get a pay increase, or you might end up going on Shark Tank and they say, we'll give you $1 million for your idea, you just never know. So that's part of what we want to do to help you. And we're going to go back to the phone. And again, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone, and we're going to talk to Emily. Hey, Emily.
Hi.
Hi.
Esther, thanks for taking my call.
Oh, it's okay. What can we help you with?
How do you record a non-dividend distribution when only part of the non-dividend is over the zero-cost basis? For example, if your cost basis for a stock is $2,000 and a non-dividend distribution is $5,000, that would be $3,000 over my zero-cost basis.
Okay. Have you been, Emily, how long have you had the stock?
Oh, many, many years.
Have you been reinvesting the dividends?
No.
You always took the dividends?
Yes, I've been taking the dividends.
Always. You always took the dividends?
Yes.
And you never sent in more money to buy more stock?
No, but the only thing is I bought 100 shares many years ago, and it split, and it split, and it split, and I ended up with 2,400 shares.
Okay, so
From that
all right.
100.
So then it would be
The
taxable.
sale, yeah.
If it's over your cost basis, then it's going to be taxable.
Yeah, it is. Okay, how do you record it? Like, say, $3,000 over the cost basis.
I would put it on a Schedule D.
Yeah, on a Schedule
What
D.
schedule?
On a Schedule D.
D, right. What would I have to use? Form 8949?
Yes.
As the 8949 goes to the D. Yes.
Right. Okay. Now, how do I record it?
Well, I would
On
put the name of the stock, and I would put that it was more than various, and that you sold it in 12/31 of 2014.
I didn't sell it.
You got to
but
record
in
it.
essence, it's a sale because they're giving you money,
Right.
and then your cost basis is zero, and you got $3,000, and it'll be $3,000 taxable.
Okay, so I put 3,000 in D and 3,000 in H. Is it? I haven't got the form.
I don't have the.
Well, actually, that might be the X. Isn't that the X?
Well,
on
no,
the...
well, you're talking about columns,
right?
So you would the sale price would be 3,000,
Would be, with a
and your
cost of
cost
zero.
basis is zero.
Right. Okay, that's all. And the payer would be
whoever paid
ABC
you.
stock, whatever
Right.
stock company it is.
Okay.
But I get the money through the brokerage, so the dividend is paid me through the brokerage.
Well,
I don't
technically,
get it directly from the company.
I know, but technically, it was the stock that was sold.
Okay.
Okay.
So should I put the name of the stock?
Yeah,
and
I
in
would.
parentheses, put down non-dividend distribution so they know where it's coming from.
I have to tell you, Emily, I don't think they're going to look at it that closely. Just make sure that you got your ducks in a row.
Okay, just put the right amounts in,
Right.
and that's it, right?
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear. Bye-bye. And that's what happens when you're getting a non-dividend distribution. It's adjusting your cost basis. And this sounds like Emily used to be a bookkeeper.
Yes.
Because she's doing a great job. Let's see. We're going to go back to the phones and talk to Kathy. Hi, Kathy. How can we help you?
Thank you. Can you still continue to contribute to an IRA if you're over 70 and you're still working?
An IRA, no. But if your job where you're working has a pension plan, you can put money into the pension plan, and you don't have to take a minimum distribution out of it until you retire.
So you can't open up any IRAs if you're still working over 70?
If you're over 70 and a half, well, actually, in the year you turn 70 and a half, you cannot put any money into a traditional IRA, but you can put money into a Roth.
Into a Roth?
So you can do a Roth IRA.
Oh, you can do a Roth
right,
IRA. Up to how much money?
Up to $6,500. Your wages up to $6,500.
It's not going to help you on your tax return.
Oh.
Because a traditional you can't, but a Roth you can. But again, all you're doing is sheltering money. That's it. Not
So
you're sheltering the growth on the money.
That means people who are over 70 are going to have a pretty big tax bill.
Well, they could, but again, if you have
I mean, I know a lot of people, Kathleen, who don't have a big tax bill over 70. They don't pay any taxes. It really just depends on how you handled your finances in years prior to turning 70.
Right.
And so many people are living on Social Security and have no tax bill.
Yep, I would look
but
to.
It seems like the people who are over 70 and are still working, it seems like the government is coming after them in a big way.
Well,
no, Kathy. Most people
anymore.
Normal retirement age is 65,
Right.
but I mean it's 66. But it's always been that way. 70 and a half was the magic age
for a long time. And what I would do is look at work, ask them if they have a 401k, any type of deferred comp plan, and start putting your pay in that. If you don't,
I mean, are you working at a small company?
No, not at all. There's no
big company.
There's no pension. There's no pension.
Wait a minute, but I understand that, Kathy, that there's no pension. Are you working at a small company or a big company?
It's a school.
You're working at a school with no pension? They don't have a 403B?
No, because I'm a substitute.
They still
have a 403B.
Wow.
Have you gone down to the HR department?
Yes.
This is a public school.
Yes.
I bet you there's a 403B.
Okay, I'll just find out.
I'll bet you. Hey, let me know, will ya? Because
I'll
bet you coffee at my office. Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks, Kath. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's see. We'll go to Anna. Hey, Anna, how can we help you?
I am 20 years old, and I file for myself. I claim myself, and I do go to college. Now, I'm figuring out my education credits. Now, actually, being 20 years old, am I able to take the refundable American?
So you're calling for your granddaughter?
No, I'm calling for myself.
You're not 20 years old.
Well, I mean, I'm doing her taxes.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I thought if you're
now
20 years old and I'm 12.
Why is the parents not claiming the 20-year-old?
Because I really don't know.
Does she not live with her parents anymore?
She does. She lives at home.
Okay. Does she make a lot of money, Anna? I mean,
actually, the only thing she made was $15,880.
All right. Is she self-supporting?
Yes, she is.
I mean, does she live home with her parents?
Yes, she does.
Well, then she would not get the refundable portion. She would get the American Opportunity Tax Credit, but she doesn't get the refundable portion.
I see. Even though she's paying her own tuition.
Yep. I mean, unless she was on her own. If she's on her own, that's different.
If she rented an apartment herself,
right? If she's on her own, that's different. But if she's still under her parents' household and they're contributing, then she would not get the refundable portion.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
thank you very much.
Bye-bye. I thought my ears were great. I thought my ears broke. Okay, and we're going to Max. Hey, Max, how can we help you?
Well, hi, Esther. I got two questions. One, my home sale. I sold my private home last November. Of course, I'm well below the capital gains, my wife and I. Is there any taxable amount? Do I have to report that?
All right. First of all, if you lived in the home 2 out of the last 5 years and you didn't rent it out, then
Correct.
The entire gain up to $500,000 is tax-free.
Do I have to report that or not?
You just have to do a worksheet. Nope, you're good to go.
Okay, just a worksheet.
Yep.
And my other question is similar to that lady that just called before regarding that 1099B.
Yeah.
I had an insurance policy, and it apparently changed hands. and they sent me a
demutualization statement.
SBLI.
Right.
That's correct. Yes.
Yep.
For $186.23 or something like that.
$196.30.
Okay. You put it in on a Schedule D, and your cost basis is the same, so there's no gain or loss.
No gain or loss. Okay.
But I do have to report that.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Schedule B.
D.
D as in David.
D.
Schedule D.
Yep.
Hey, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. You're a lot of help.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax. Hey, we want to help you guys. So any of our local offices are open 9 to 9 Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 on Saturday, whether you're in Western New York, Arizona, or Florida. So come visit us. Until next Saturday, I'm Esther Golias with Christopher Fabian. Call us if you need us. Our website is egtax.com. Have a great week. Stay warm. Bye-bye.